Hello, bumblebees. I know that most of you guys know one of my very favorite things in the world to do is to practice yoga. And one of the things that I love to do during this time of the year is to practice Passover Yoga, okay? So you don't need a mat, you can use a towel or whatever, but find yourself a little space. And you know, like when we do yoga in class, we always sit for a minute, take a couple of deep breaths before we start. And the first pose is going to be the very beginning of the story where baby Moses is in the basket. It's kind of like a boat pose, okay? Here's baby Moses floating in the basket, okay? See if you can pull your stomach in real nice and tight, sit up nice and tall, and you're waiting for the princess to come along and find you and save you and take you back to the castle. That's baby Moses pose. So she does find baby Moses and she does take him back to the castle, and he grows up into a big strong man, and he looks out of the castle windows and he sees all the Jewish slaves building pyramids. So this is pyramid pose. Just like this, my feet are kind of like on a train track. Okay, they're not stuck together, they're like on a road. And I have a big triangle in between my legs, and I'm gonna fold over my legs, and this is called a pyramid pose. Okay, so go ahead and do it on one side, and then you can walk your hands around and do your pyramid pose on the other side. Remember to keep your feet a little apart. That is pyramid pose. Now there's another way you can also make a pyramid. We call this down dog when we do it in class, but it also works for Passover Yoga to be a pyramid. All right, so Moses looked out and he saw the pyramids and the slaves working on the pyramids. There were also a lot of camels in this scene. So a camel pose, remember, is standing on your knees. Put your hands like in your back pockets, or pretend you have back pockets, and look up and stretch your chest way up. That is the camel pose. All right, and then we'll go back to our pyramid pose. Pyramids and the camels. And Moses was so upset because the Egyptians were beating the slaves. Okay, so this one's kind of fun. Kind of like a warrior one pose. You've got your knee bent up here, and then you've got your arms like an Egyptian. Walk like an Egyptian. And then go ahead and turn around and do the Egyptian pose the other way. Okay. So remember, then Moses runs away because he doesn't like what he saw. He doesn't like the slaves being beaten. And he runs away to tend to the sheep. And when he is tending to the sheep, he comes across the burning bush. You know this is tree pose, right? And this is the bush that spoke to God. That was God speaking to Moses and telling him to go back and talk to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. See how long you can hold your burning bush pose. Be sure to do it on both sides, nice and even. The burning bush. And so then Moses does travel back to Egypt, and he talks to Pharaoh and says some terrible things are going to happen if you don't let the Jewish slaves go. And one of those things is frogs. One morning when Pharaoh woke in his bed, there were frogs on his head and frogs in his bed. Frogs here, frogs there. Frogs were jumping everywhere. So you've got your nice frog pose. Put one frog leg down. Wave to the other frogs. There's tons of them around or all over the place. Put your frog leg down, wave to the other frog. So finally, after all these bad things happened, Pharaoh tells Moses that he can go and get the slaves and tell them that they're ready to pack up and leave for the promised land, to get out of Egypt. They're free. So they go back to their homes and they hurry and try to bake their bread, okay? So like we do in class, when we bake our bread, we've got to twist it and twist it. So you're going to twist, you're going to pull a knee in and twist over to one side. Twist it, twist it, twist it in the morning, twist it in the noontime, twist it, twist it till the sun goes down. Don't forget to twist both sides. Twist it in the morning, twist it in the noontime. But you know what happens. They don't have time to make bread. It doesn't have time to rise. It ends up just being flat matzah. Shavasana pose is a great one. Just relax. But this is not the end of the story, right? Because the Jews then pack up their matzah and they go to leave Egypt. But then Moses comes to the Red Sea and they don't know how they're going to cross the Red Sea. Moses puts down his staff and the sea opens up. So this is the parting of the Red Sea. The Red Sea parts. And the Israelites, the Jewish people, make it across. And now, every year, we have a Passover dinner, a Seder, where we tell this wonderful story. And there's one chair at our Seder that's empty. It's called Elijah's chair. And now you guys can be Elijah's chair. Sit down in a chair, like a preschool chair, short, small little chair. And that, my friends, is Passover Yoga. Namaste.